Okay, so the Grammys came on last night, and a lot of y'all know I, Anthony Aiken Jr., despise the Grammy Awards. Of course I watched it. It's music's biggest night. The Grammys, they're problematic, and we'll get into that in the after hours. However, it was a great show. The cringe levels of the 2021 Grammys, I don't know if it's because the fake smiles couldn't show through those COVID masks.
Watch Iggy win the Grammy as I try to crack a smile.
But thank God for COVID protocol, because this show ran very smooth. Trevor Noah, the level of corniness that comes with being a host of an award show, there was very minimal corny. It still was there, but very minimal. Now, I loved how they had the first three performances, one after the other. It felt like we were at one of those cafes, and there was no super crazy theatrics. I really loved that personal feel. Starting with Harry Styles. Harry Styles, from the album Fine Line, I was curious what he was going to perform. Y'all know I wanted him to do Cherry. Don't you call him baby. But he didn't. The radio classic, Watermelon Sugar High. Watermelon Sugar High. Watermelon Sugar. Everyone loves Sarah Mitch, of course. I know the little secret going around. The trumpet player, the saxophone, the backup singers were doing their thing. But this right here. And of course, Harry won his first Grammy. That was a thumbs up for the night. Okay, so that weaved perfectly into the next performance, which was Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish and Phineas, I love their connection. The performances had these amazing introductions from the artist. Like when Billie Eilish was talking about having sleep paralysis and her relationship with her brother, that was inspirational. She, I think, has enough Grammys at this point to just shit on your teenage life. Like, you did not accomplish all of this. You did not. And the last but not least, we have Haim. I'm getting choked up. Fuck, let me get myself together. This is a band that I'd never heard of. I know they collaborated with Taylor Swift, but I need to do my research because they are incredible. I think I fell in love with the drummer. I don't know her name, but she went from the drums, then she started singing on a mic. And like they were doing the claps. All three of them were super energetic. I mean, I know they're sisters. One of the best performances of the night. If you check out the Anthony Aiken Jr. award show, the ratings are at an all-time low. This is a clip of mine. Unnecessary awards to you artists, where we respect musicianship, artistry, people of all backgrounds, unlike the Grammys. I had a great award show. You know what I'm saying? We actually highlighted Chloe and Holly, okay? But the Grammys having Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars was easily the best part for me, performance-wise. The awesome part about Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak is they're like peanut butter and jelly, cookies and cream, pen and paper, paper straws and turtles. They belong together. So I'm so thankful, and I can't wait for live concerts to come back so we can enjoy this in person. Speaking of live performances, I think the montages where they had that one random bartender, she was talking about the Hollywood bar and what that meant to music, or the one in Nashville, Tennessee, what that meant to country music, or the Apollo Theater and what that meant to African Americans. The performance, again, from Anderson .Paak and Bruno, both Leave the Door Open, and the Little Richie tribute where Anderson .Paak went insane. Speaking of Anderson .Paak, like many of the artists, delivered a message.
If you have a voice, don't be afraid to use it, because they watching.
Another first-time Grammy Award winner, and deservingly so, a great R&B artist, her, also had this to say.
And I didn't imagine that my fear and that my pain would turn into impact and it would possibly turn into change.
And then, of course, you had the true winner of tonight, which we'll get into more later. But Beyonce had this montage as well. So Black excellence was definitely at the forefront. And I have to say, this new generation of hip hop definitely held it down, specifically with Lil Baby's performance. The spoken word pieces as well, very passionate, and a call to action, specifically at the President of the United States.
President Biden, we demand justice, equity.
Now, I know it sounds like I'm complimenting the Grammys, but don't get it twisted, okay? I'm gonna get to the BS.
Why? Because fuck them, that's why.
Okay, so inclusion is definitely a two-way street, because one thing I have to call the Grammys out on, and this has always been one of my many issues, right? So clearly The Weeknd was snubbed, and it's not the first time. I'm not shocked. When I read The Weeknd's tweet about him saying, hey, I'm not submitting any more of my music to the Grammys, that wasn't the first time. J. Cole, this is 2014 Forest Hills Drive, one of my favorite albums. J. Cole no longer submits his music to the Grammys. The reason why? This album right here is from Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. This album lost to Macklemore's The Heist. This is one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time that I'm holding in my hand. And to think that the Grammys got it so wrong that history is forever stained, it taints the award. And that's what I'll mention later on. I love the inclusion. I love seeing Bad Bunny out there. I love seeing BTS out there. What they're doing, and a lot of fans pointed it out, the whole dangling them like they're ornaments. However, when it comes time to actually show them love, give them an award, they don't do that. It's usually audience participation. They want you to watch the Grammys. So if they give this performance on air, it gives you, the fan, hope that they're going to win something. And then boom, you get their ratings up and they don't got to give them anything. You know how many times they did that to hip hop artists?
This is a business where sometimes, it's up to a bunch of people that might not understand, what a mixed race kid from Canada has to say, or a fly Spanish girl from New York, or anybody else.
Let's segue into what they're starting to do. I really do believe most of the awards, especially the big awards, I can honestly say the Grammys, they got it right most of the time this year, and I'm really happy about that. The woman won the award show. Let's be very clear, as they should. Starting with, to me, Dua Lipa. She is a megastar. Like, her performance was insane. I'm not gonna lie. The beginning was incredible, right? Very groovy. Okay, the baby came out. Awesome. But then the ending, when she started doing this one right here. Oh, Lord. Lord, that's a thumbs up. That's a major thumbs up. Taylor Swift, hold on. I have to put the Cardigan on because she started off the performance with Cardigan. And then she goes from Cardigan, all of a sudden I hear, so air. And I said, hold up, huh? August is one of my favorite songs when she goes, meet me behind the mall. It was incredible. And then the transition from August into Willow. Thumbs up. Another thumbs up. They can't see that. All right.
We just want to thank the fans. You guys met us in this imaginary world that we created.
Okay, so Folklore wins Album of the Year, and deservingly so. This album is incredible. Like, I don't care what anyone says. You can complain, protest, this, that, and the third.
We don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care.
Folklore deserves it. Don't give me no lip. The One, Cardigan, The Last Great American Dynasty. We're talking about incredible storytelling. I did a video on that. Y'all should check it out. Check out my other content. Subscribe to the channel. What you doing? Lazy. You're lazy. Okay? You're lazy. And you lack an education on Anthony Aiken Jr. You should be ashamed of yourself. But here's the issue, though. The Grammys have gotten it wrong so many times that when they get it right, I question whether or not I should celebrate. Like, should I celebrate the fact that I've said on my own award show that no one checked out, Taylor Swift Folklore?
Yeah, I showed up at your party. Will you have me? Will you love me?
But when the Grammys does it, it's coming from a place of what? What's the guidelines? What's the transparency for people to know why this won? And the reason why I say that is because this album beat this album. This had a Metacritic score of over 96. This right here was about the Black experience.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright.
That was very disappointing and a slap in the face. And the reason why is because the previous year, Beck had beat Beyonce. And when Beck beat Beyonce, everyone's like, well, Beck had the better album. Beyonce is just more popular. So in the next year, when you have these two albums, 1989, yes, is the more popular album. But To Pimp a Butterfly this is by the general consensus, the better album. So it's not about 1989 winning. It's about them not being transparent on what the guidelines are. And the answer is actually relationships that you have with the people on the panel. Now, they're trying to make it more diverse, and I see that. They've messed it up so many times that we question whether or not we should celebrate this award the way we do. Because on a night where Nas won his first Grammy tonight, he won it tonight, not for that album that came out in 1994. One of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, Illmatic. So that's where it gets tricky. It's like you give Nas his Grammy for an album that doesn't even mean half the amount that Illmatic means. That's the issue. I think the Grammys is phenomenal performance art, but at the end of the day, that's it. I'm not going to put too much prestige into these awards. Taylor Swift is a phenomenal artist. She didn't need this to prove it, because when Reputation wasn't even nominated, that's BS.
You are not nominated.
Reputation was an incredible album.
I just need to make a better record.
Well, Reputation is a great record.
But if you're complaining about Folklore, you're tripping. Folklore is a phenomenal album. This cardigan is cozy. I'm going to take it off, though. It's getting hot. But like I said, man, women won the night. Taylor Swift, she wins the award. I was so happy to see her on that stage. So happy to see Beyonce on that stage winning the most Grammy. Like, think about this.
Reflect the times, encourage and celebrate all of the beautiful Black queens and kings.
Beyonce, on the night where she breaks the record for winning the most amount of Grammys, her daughter, Blue, wins her first Grammy. That is epic. That's legendary. That's queen behavior. Shout out to Taylor Swift. Shout out to Beyonce. Shout out to Dua Lipa. Shout out to Meg Thee Stallion. Had a phenomenal night too.
My mama will always be like, Megan, what would Beyonce do?
Had that thing moving in them jeans.
The award itself, I think the meaning is going to diminish as the years go by. I think we should all treat the Grammys the way the main character in Mean Girls, played by Lindsay Lohan, treated the tiara on Spring Fling.
Why is everybody stressing over this thing? I mean, it's just plastic.
You know, she wins Spring Fling. Spring Fling is still fun. Everyone wants to go to Spring Fling. But when it comes to winning that tiara, she broke it up in pieces and just tossed it. You toss it away and you enjoy your summer. And with that being said, my name is Anthony Aiken Jr. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like if you do, subscribe. Don't be bougie. Subscribe and like. Okay, I'm trying to get my numbers up. My mom said I got to get to 50,000 subscribers soon. Follow me on social media right here too. As always with the channel, we end off with a hug. Bring it in.
Sweet creature, had another talk about where it's going wrong. Sweet creature, sweet creature, sweet creature, sweet creature.
She shine so bright, I get whiplash low. I kick bad habits at the kickback though. In other words, I tick my ex like tic-tac-toe. It's a trick, silly rabbit, where the kids at, yo?